Come out, wherever you are.
The Homosexuals, with CBS News correspondent Mike Wallace.
Homosexuality is an enigma. Even in this era of bold sexual mores, it remains a subject that people find disturbing, embarrassing, and the reluctance to discuss it. Yet there is a growing concern about homosexuals in society, about their increasing visibility. In preparing this broadcast, CBS News commissioned a survey by the Opinion Research Corporation into public attitudes toward homosexuality. We discovered that Americans consider homosexuality more harmful to society than adultery, abortion, or prostitution. Most Americans are repelled by the mere notion of homosexuality. The CBS News survey shows that 2 out of 3 Americans look upon homosexuals with disgust, discomfort, or fear. 1 out of 10 says hatred. A vast majority believe that homosexuality is an illness. Only 10% say it is a crime. And yet, and here's the paradox, the majority of Americans favor legal punishment, even for homosexual acts performed in private between consenting adults.
If you're looking for the guilty, you need only look into a mirror. I know why you did it. I know you were
afraid of how they may be perceived or what's expected of them.
But there are still hate crimes.
That is true. But you know, when you hide in the shadows, you are less visible. You have less protection. We'll always be targets for the ignorant. It is what it is. But we are strong.
Homosexuals in America.
Now you want to talk about reading? Let's talk about reading. What is wrong with you, Pedro? Are you going through it? You're going through some kind of psychological change in your life?
She went back to be a man.
Oh, you went back to being a man. Touch this skin, darling. Touch this skin, honey. Touch all of this skin. Okay? You just can't take it. You're just an overgrown orangutan.
Public restrooms can often be a hangout for the homosexual. Bobby and his friends hadn't noticed the man who had been in the restroom when they changed. When Bobby recognized the stranger as the man in the restroom, the shortcut under the pier didn't seem like a good idea at all. After all, it's more fun to stay with your friends anyway. Bobby had made a wise decision. It may have saved his life.
Wives are girls, husbands are boys.
Right, that's right. So if you're a boy...
You'll be a husband.
Right. Yeah, we're both husbands.
You're both husbands?
Is that
you married each other? That's funny.
It's funny, right?
I usually see husbands and wives. But this is the very first time I saw husbands and husbands. So funny. So that means you love each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're much alike. You're much alike. And I'm going to play ping pong now.
Okay.
You can play if you want to.
It's estimated that 10% of the total population are homosexual.
It's not contagious. You are or are not a homosexual.
We do not employ homosexuals. If we discover homosexuals, we discharge them.
It is a tragic illness.
One's right to be gay.
People already employed prevents them from being fired.
An equal alternative lifestyle of male homosexuals has triggered an epidemic, a rare form of cancer.
Marriage will be the ultimate destruction of our country.
If we don't vote against it, then we are approving these things.
And it's for God and for the gays.
You want society to accept you, but you can't even accept yourself.
If your boss finds out that you're gay, or if your boss thinks that you're gay, in 29 states in this country, it is legal for your boss to fire you for that reason and that reason alone. In 3 additional states, it is illegal to fire you just for being gay, but it is still legal to fire you for being transgender. We have what's called a patchwork of civil rights protections on this issue in this country. It's illegal everywhere in the country to fire someone or refuse to hire them on the basis of their race or their religion or a bunch of other factors. It's race, religion, gender, age, national origin, disability, genetic information. But when it comes to gender identity and sexual orientation, those are not treated the same way.
Dear America, when you tell gay Americans that they can't serve their country openly or marry the person that they love, you're telling that to kids too. So don't be shocked and wonder where all these bullies are coming from that are torturing young kids and driving them to kill themselves because they're different. They learned it from watching you.
On February 12th, an openly gay 15-year-old boy named Larry, who was an 8th grader in Oxnard, California, was murdered by a fellow 8th grader named Brandon. Larry was killed because he was gay. Days before he was murdered, Larry asked his killer to be his Valentine. I don't want to be political. This is not political. I'm not a political person, but this is personal to me. A boy has been killed and a number of lives have been ruined. And somewhere along the line, the killer, Brandon, got the message that it's so threatening and so awful and so horrific that Larry would want to be his Valentine, that killing Larry seemed to be the right thing to do. And when the message out there is so horrible that to be gay, you can get killed for it, we need to change the message.
To you is, so far, a lot of people joined us and rejected Proposition 6, and now we owe them something. We owe them to continue the education campaign that took place. We must destroy the myths once and for all, shatter them. We must continue to speak out.
There are, of course, those who do not want us to speak.
Certain civil rights should be given to certain people only if a majority of voters say it's okay. Of course, if minority groups were only allowed to have rights that the majority decide to give them, we would be a very different country. Try and keep asking for the majority to grant you your rights. Maybe more referenda. The whole idea of rights, the reason they're called rights, is that they're supposed to be unalienable.
I had a booking for a Christmas show at Sally's, and the DTs came to me with a picture of her murdered, and they were about to cremate her because nobody had came to verify the body, and I was the one that had to give all this information down to her family. Actually, they found her dead after 4 days, strangled under a bed in a sleazy hotel in New York City.
I'm hungry.
We used to get dressed together, call each other, and say what we were going to wear, and, you know, she was like my right hand. As far as I'm concerned, I miss her. Every time I go anywhere, I miss her. That was the main daughter of my house, in other words. But that's part of life as far as being a transsexual in New York City and surviving.
Pandemonium, fear, anger, frustration, annoyance, police. It was the girls that led the charge, I guess. I think of all my transgender girls, you know, when they were arresting us, someone threw something. I don't know. Rumor is it's a shoe. Someone said it was a beer bottle. You know, I don't know who threw what first. All I know is that we were fighting for our very lives.
Most perplexing thing about hate for me is it's a conscious choice. You choose to do that. You learn to do that.
I want people to realize that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fall down. Get up, look sickening, and make them eat it.
I got something to say! I've got something to say!
To the gay community all over this state.
You must speak. I can't. You must. It's our only hope.
There are things you want to say sometimes, but you just never do. You want to say them, but
It's just that the cause wasn't real. The cause was imagined. The cause was fear. Let's think of another minority, one that can go unnoticed if it needs to. There are all sorts of minorities. Blondes, for example. People with freckles. The minority is only thought of as one when it constitutes some kind of threat to the majority, a real threat or an imagined one. And therein lies the fear. And if that minority is somehow invisible, fear is much greater. That fear is why the minority is persecuted, and so you see there always is a cause. The cause is fear. Minorities are just people. People like us.
Then why not stay in disguise all the time? You know? Look like everyone else. Because we shouldn't have to.
We are indeed everywhere. Every myth, every lie, every innuendo will be destroyed once and for all.
To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as
all men are created equal, I have a dream.
We can do it. We can do it with our behavior. We can do it with our messages that we send our children. We can do it with our vote. This is an election year, and there's a lot of talk about change. I think one thing we should change is hate. Check on who you're voting for, and does that person really truly believe that we are all equal under the law? And if you're not sure, change your vote. We deserve better.
Let me clarify that, Bill. We are not a cult. We don't proselytize. We have no agenda. We're not recruiting.
But tonight, I would like to talk to the 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17-year-olds at Pascal and at Arlington Heights and at Trimble Tech High Schools, or at Daggett and Rosemont Middle Schools, or any school in Fort Worth, or anywhere across the country, for that matter. I know that life can seem unbearable. I know that the people in your household or in your school may not understand you, and that they may even physically harm you. But I want you to know that it gets better.
We love you. And you are so welcome here. You know, we as gay people, we get to choose our family. You know, we get to choose the people that we're around. I am your family. We are a family here. I love you.
It's my duty to make this announcement. Both Mayor Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk have been shot and killed.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Somewhere in Des Moines or San Antonio, there's a young gay person who all of a sudden realizes that she or he is gay, knows that if the parents find out, they'll be tossed out of the house. The classmates would taunt the child, and the Anita Bryans and John Briggs are doing their bit on TV, and that child had several options. Staying in a closet, suicide, and then one day that child might open a paper and it says homosexual elected in San Francisco, and there are two new options. The option is to go to California, and stay in San Antonio and fight. 2 days after I was elected, I got a phone call, and the voice was quite young. It was from Altoona, Pennsylvania, and the person said, thanks. And you've got to elect gay people so that that young child and the thousands upon thousands like that child know that there's hope for a better world. There's hope for a better tomorrow. Without hope, not only gays, but those blacks and the Asians and the disabled, the seniors, the us's, without hope, the us's give up. I know that you cannot live on hope alone, but without it, life is not worth living.
Just remember that Matthew was not my gay son. He's my son who happens to be gay.
Words will always retain their power. Words are for the means to meaning, and for those who will listen, the enunciation of truth.
We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery.
If it does get better and I'm gone, then I've really screwed up.
It gets better.
It gets better.
It does get better.
Promise it gets better.
It got better.
Things got better.
And it really does get better.
I swear to God, it will get better.
you'll see that there's an entire world out there just full of love, without judgment, without prejudice, without ignorance.
I promise it gets so much better.
Things will get easier, people's minds will change, and you should be alive to see it.
To you, I say it gets better.
So, growing up, I've always been afraid to admit the type of person that I am until I got older and I began to meet people who are like me. And when I met these people, I realized that I'm not the only person out there in this world who is like this. So along the way, it's hard. You don't want people to judge you. There's going to be judgment. You're always going to have people that dislike you for who you are, but you're also going to have people that love you, care for you, and they're always going to be there for you no matter what you go through. So in the end, it does get better. So don't have negative thoughts, have positive vibes, have people around you that care for you, because you never know what you are destined for in this world. So stay around, all right? It gets better.
Hi. My name is Antonio Cordero Mendoza Mercado. I'm your student government president. I'm a student. I work in the library, and I'm also gay. I do not believe I was born this way, but I do believe I was meant to be this way. I think everything you experience in your life leads you down certain paths, and I know this path was supposed to be mine. Everything I've done, people I've met, places I've got to go, solidify all of that. Growing up was hard and confusing, and when you're gay, it's easy to feel all of that times 10, and it's easy to feel alone in a world you can't exactly relate to. Hardest thing was the small talk and the little remarks that my teachers, of all people, make. Not so much the kids, it was the adults that were the worst. People talk a certain way when they don't think certain people are around. And I was unfortunate to hear a lot of that. People I'm supposed to look up to, people that are supposed to be educated, talking about you like you're not human. That definitely adds to the confusion, and it doesn't feel too good. Nobody should feel alone or ashamed for something like this. Because for one, you're not alone. There's so many people out there. There's so many people out there fighting for you. I'm fighting for you. And I want you to know that it does get better. That it's gotten better for me. And you just have to stick it out.
When I was 2 years old, I figured out that I was a boy. I mean, there was not really that there was anything to process and figure out. It was something it was. It was a natural thing for me to know, as an essential part of my being. Unfortunately, the rest of the world just wasn't on board with that. And it, for a great many years, no matter what I would do or say, the rest of the world just was not ready to accept that. Even when I was an undergraduate and going to college, I had some issues, with some fellow students who would very openly, very loudly harass me. There was not really a safe space for me to have. We didn't have, anything like a GSA available at the time, and so I felt a lot of times alone, even though I had friends. They just didn't quite understand the extent of which I needed help. And that was a long time ago. And things over time have improved. There's still a long way to go with the way that society views LGBT, but it is getting better. And even now, as an instructor, there are times where I might be a little concerned, for my safety, but it's certainly, situations have improved, and more people are listening, and more people are learning. Just today, I had an issue that had to be taken care of concerning my birth name, and so anyone who is transgender probably typically have problems when it comes to things like being misgendered or our dead name being used, and that was something that the university I go to kept insisting on, was the use of my dead name in a very public way. And finally I had to go and talk to someone about that, and I kept getting this answer of, well, those are the rules. It has to be this name used on all things, and it made me want to quit. And maybe I don't know, maybe I would have, had I not turned around and talked to someone who offered a safe space. And so today, that person became a new hero because they took care of that. They went and talked to those people in charge, on my behalf, and made sure that situation would not come up again, because people finally are starting to listen more and understand more. So I just want to say that no matter what you are going through, there are others out there that are going through it. Like I said, I thought I was alone for many, many years, and I wouldn't have dreamed that I could even find an online community of 18,000 others like me that I can talk to, and that has been a great help. So make sure that you reach out, become part of a group on campus or online, in your community, wherever it is that you can find that sense of community. You really need that, and through that community that you are part of, go out and educate those who don't know, that just don't know any better yet. We have to educate others in order for things to get better, but trust me, they do.
Hi, my name is Amber Hart, and I'm a student at Tarrant County College. I am a librarian aide. I work with the most amazing coworkers in the world, but I'm also a victim of contemplating suicide in my life. And I know that feeling of feeling like failure, like your life means nothing, and that the people in your life don't really need you. But I just want to tell you, it does get better. Think of your friends, think of the people in your life that are by your side, and it will get better.
Hey there, I'm Sonia, and I know that some of you may be going through some tough times, and you might think that you're in the darkest place of your life right now, but believe me, things do get better. Everything does get better. If you ever need anybody there for you, I'm here. I know what it's like to go through some dark times, but I'm here, and there are some amazing people here that helped me get through all of my troubles, and I can be there for you because it does get better. Believe me, it really does.
And every day, it gets better.
There is a home and a family waiting for you.